Modern Warfare 3 has finally been released, and I don't want to speak too early, but I think it's absolutely fantastic. Let me know down in the comments if I am deluded or you're feeling the same way. And because it is a new game, we want to ensure that our settings are at their absolute peak, and that involves the best audio settings for Modern Warfare 3, and we'll start with the audio mix. Much like the latter half of Modern Warfare 2, I am going to recommend headphone bass boost. During my experience on the campaign, the beta, and the few hours I've got to play so far, it does seem that headphone bass boost is the best option. And when I say best option, I mean in terms of hearing footsteps and important audio cues to help you actually kill people. Because actually, generally, I think any of these settings will make the game sound fantastic, because Call of Duty actually do a good job overall. It's normally the footstep sounds that we have a problem with. And of course, really, I mean headphone bass boost for headphone users. If you are one of the few that's using TV sound or soundbar, etc., then actually I do recommend using home theater. When we come down to volumes, I do recommend putting your master volume on somewhere between 70 and 80. Now, I know most of us can alter the sound on our headsets and things like that, but if we leave this at 100, some of the audio cues in the game get a little bit distorted. They're really hitting the top end of that audio range, and we don't really want that. It's better to put it down a little bit here, and then if needs be, turn it up with our headsets. Then for the breakdown, I've got gameplay music volume down on 10. This audio actually sounds very good, but it is just a distraction from the other important sounds. So I've got mine on 10, but really you could go all the way down to 0 here. For dialogue volume, I've got mine on 70. So these are things like the characters shouting out certain things. I don't want it on 100 because that's going to drown out, again, important things like footsteps. But actually they do shout some kind of important things, so I still want to be able to hear it. For example, you hear enemies nearby throwing stuns or grenades or putting down claymores or, you know, all of that kind of thing. For effects volume, this is the only one on 100. And you guessed it, that's where footsteps sit. So you're going to hear things like doors bash, footsteps, and all of the kind of audio cues that are made by players. For voice chat volume, that one's actually completely up to you. I've got mine on 50. It seems to work well for most players. And then cinematic music volume, I've got mine on 30. Again, you can turn this down all the way to 0 if you want absolutely no distractions. But I figure since Call of Duty has probably spent millions of pounds mastering the cinematic music, I'll at least put it on a little bit. Then for subtitles for multiplayer, I've left mine on off. This is just because there's so much action that sometimes the text from subtitles can kind of take over the screen. On Warzone, it's a different story. The action is more sparse, so actually I would use it on there. But for multiplayer, maybe switch it off. For mono audio, make sure this is off. By switching this off, it means that we actually have stereo audio, which means we have directional sound going to our ears. So if someone shoots from the left, we can hear it in our left ear. For reduced tinnitus sound, put this on enabled. Why wouldn't you want to reduce that ringing sound? Then the rest of the options are subjective and up to you. Hopefully you enjoyed the game that little bit more with these audio settings. And now that you've finished up here, why don't you master the rest of the settings on Modern Warfare 3 with one of these videos?